Hi guys, I'm Pauline.
Hey, I'm Priscilla.
I'm Pal.
And I'm Tamiron.
And this is the P3T podcast. Sili wakati wa muziki.
Ni wakati wa muziki.
Okay, I'm cold my leg.
Haya. So today we're going to be talking about singlehood. Now, just want to preface by saying all of us here are single.
Sadly.
Not sadly. We're just about to find out why we should not be sad about it.
Sorry, sadly.
I don't know about proud. It's a fine line. Yeah, so today we're going to be talking about singlehood. And the first thing I wanted to discuss is, do you guys feel like you're enjoying your singlehood right now?
Personally, I don't know. Not really. Because, I don't know, I really should be appreciating it. But it's like, there's something in me that's just like, I don't know, it's just not comfortable.
I get you.
I can't really phrase it, but it's not comfortable. I'm like, there's a part of me that's not comfortable being single. Yeah.
Priscilla?
I'm in a state of philophobia. So,
Define to the people, not philophobia.
Kindly. Common one.
a fear of love and commitment. I can't say I'm really enjoying it. Okay, I'm trying to be appreciative of it, because you know, with being single, you have more time for yourself, self-care. How now to
You
like
don't have to worry about someone else.
yeah, at you're obligated. Okay,
Is it just you?
yeah, and then I say good morning. Like
It's like,
yeah.
you're not obligated to anyone else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ati wacha nimpigie simu.
Too much.
Yeah. You know, we are the ones who do the bare minimum, but still, like, yeah, it's interesting. Like, I'm somewhat learning to appreciate being single until I get the one.
There's something about
this the one.
it's something you said about the bare minimum. I just think it's so sad that as ladies or like women, we do the bare.
Why, Tamiron? Why?
I was like, I don't know. It's sad that we do the bare minimum.
What do you mean you do the bare minimum?
I'm a judge. Okay.
Like gifts, like maybe a gift for a birthday. We get them what? A handkerchief. And they get us a beautiful watch or perfume. It's sad. I mean,
I feel like there's a lot of pressure that goes to men doing the most. Like, if it comes to Valentine's Day, for instance, you're like, my guy has to remember, he has to take me out, he has to. I wish it was more like reciprocative, like also, like if it's Valentine's, the guy is taking you out and maybe
And you
bought
also
him a
do
wallet
something,
or a watch. Okay, there are women who do that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
There's always, like, everything you say, it's never 100%.
Exactly. But then there are others who put so much weight on like the guy,
man has to
guy. Yeah, I don't know.
But I feel like the roles reverse, like once they get married.
Yeah.
'Cause now when you get married, the guy is doing the bare minimum. Mtu amesha one plate. Wow! The whole community is standing up to cheer for him. Anyway, yeah, so I guess it's just about standards on both sides.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, should be corrected. Anyway, I enjoy my season of singleness. I am the number 2 champion of celibacy. I'm always talking about the way I'm going to get a celibacy ring. I'm always talking to one of my friends. We always say they will go to Tao and we'll get rings and we'll wear them together, you know. But it's gender Tao, like me, bado me champion of celibacy. So I just feel like these relationships come with so much drama. And mimi guy, kama kuna kitu spending ni drama, get it away from me, far away, you know. Like,
Satan.
yeah.
stand behind me, devil.
Like, if I'm watching drama, cool. If I'm in the drama,
Nah.
So I just feel like relationships come with a lot of drama. And then, you know, like, young people are also dramatic sometimes. Not everyone, but like
Most.
yeah. So yeah, I'm happy being single. If I find somebody, I find somebody. If I don't find somebody,
Oh,
yeah.
well.
Yeah.
In your life.
Digress.
Now, for me, it's really 50-50. Like there are days where I'm like, pal, I'm like, hey, all of that for a human being, stay away from me. Stay away from me. But then the other days I'm just like, guy, pia mi nataka kubeba mkono. Pia mi nataka. So for me, it's kind of like a 50-50 thing.
Yeah.
But I think the reason is because of how I view relationships. And I think a lot of that for a lot of young people especially, because we live in the age of social media and everyone just like, I don't know, posting everything on social media.
Everyone's a boom.
Yeah, so for me, I feel like it comes from how I've viewed relationships from the media. So how do you guys feel like the media portrays relationships?
I feel like social media portrays, even not even like social media alone, just society. Yeah? It portrays relationships as being like something so important, because if you're not with someone, you're lonely.
Yeah.
So people equate singleness to loneliness, and that's not the same thing. You can be single and still have such an amazing network of people around you, an amazing community, people who support you, people who are behind you, and you don't need a man, and as a man you don't need a woman. Yeah. So where was I going? So I think the media and the society in general has portrayed relationships to be at such a high place, and then singleness to be like, if you're single, you're like,
something must be wrong with you.
You're not it. But it's not even like it trickles down to everyone. Even like your parents will ask you at some point, like, Ujolewa, that uncle who's not married, people are praying over him in church.
At the end of wedding,
You're
not come in front, we pray for you. Why you gonna do this to him?
Yeah, so I just feel like social media now heightens it for young people. So I'm seeing people like mtu amenena boyfriend sijui ametravel wapi, sijui amefanya date gani.
Ameenda kupanda Mount Longonot.
Exactly. Kwani I can't enjoy Mount Longonot alone. You know, so yeah, that's what I think.
I think social media has portrayed relationships as a utopic or a fantasy per se, where like everything goes right, nothing goes wrong. Even in movies, like it's all cliche.
And if something goes wrong, the relationship must end.
Exactly. And it somewhat creates a falsehood where like you think, even let's say it's your first relationship and maybe you've not had an environment where you've seen a relationship or a good relationship per se, so you expect a relationship to be like the soap opera that you watch every 8 o'clock p.m. or
There's something very
or it to be like the movies that you watch from Hollywood. It's not. Every relationship will come with its hurdles, and I don't know. I think, as Paul said, it's regarded at high esteem.
Yeah.
Like I like what she said, where if you're single, you're lonely. It's equated to being lonely, and it's not the case. And then there was even something that came where she gave that example of the entire church comes and prays for you if you're not yet married. A lot of them say you have the spirit of rejection.
Oh no.
Kuna spirit of rejection in akufuata, we need to deal with that. And I don't know, it brought me to I'll ask the question later.
It's something you said about soap operas that reminded me of something I had this week. It's very toxic how soap operas, and basically, let me talk about dramas, like TV dramas, how they glorify toxic relationships.
True.
Hey, concept. Anyway, yeah. it's bad. I remember I was even hearing from someone this week that I'm sure you guys have heard of attachment styles.
Yeah.
And how okay.
Sorry. Psychologist here.
So from what I heard, sorry, I have a sore throat. But from what I heard, attachment styles root from your relationship with your parents.
Yeah.
So okay, there's a secure attachment. There's secure attachment. There's anxious attachment, and there's avoidant, and there's
acha niwaambie there is secure and insecure. Secure ni docket moja peke yake. Insecure has like 2 dockets.
No,
So the anxious and avoidant. Avoidant.
So I had this person. Okay, so I think I need to explain. So for secure, someone who's securely attached, or they have a secure attachment, they were given everything they needed. They were provided both emotionally and physically. Sindio? I just want to confirm with psychologist pal. And then for avoidant, your parents were distant, both, especially emotionally. Just in general.
Usually it's emotionally because they can be there physically, but they're not
emotionally, yeah. So your parents are very distant emotionally. They don't care to ask how you are, how you've been doing, blah blah blah. And then anxious, psychologist, please. Anxious sijui vile nitaeleza vizuri.
You get anxious when you see your parent. So like they come into the room and like unashtuka because maybe like they abused you or something like that. So the difference between avoidant and anxious, guy akim quote. If you also do psychology, quote. So for avoidance, like your parents just wasn't there. So like maybe they were, even emotionally, it's not that they had to you, but they just weren't present. You know, they didn't like care about your life much now. But for anxious, no, they had to you. So like you're scared to be around them. Like, you know, they said if you go and motion to hit a dog and then they flinch, it's like they've been bitten by their owner. But those ones which don't flinch, they've not been bitten. Kind of the same vibe. Like in quotes.
So I remember I was even hearing this person saying that for them, they have a secure attachment, but because of media in general, because of how they've portrayed relationships and stuff like that, it's really affected him and his view of relationships. So now your attachment style doesn't just end, like it's very reflective of how you view relationships and so because he had a secure attachment style, you'd expect him to be secure in relationships. So then he's not scared that he's going to be left. He's secure in his relationship. He's secure that the person he's with is, like
Going to stay.
Yeah, they're basically secure in the relationship. But then because of media, it's really tainted like his view of relationships. Now Loki gravitated to anxious, where he's afraid of being left, or maybe avoidant because hataki kusikia machungu yako, like he doesn't want to feel the pain of being left.
He's like, let me not feel
anything. Anyway, that was something I had from someone. Back to me, I feel like for me the reason why I'm not, like I said, I'm not comfortable in my singleness at the moment is because singlehood,
whichever.
At the moment is because of the media. Like Pauline said, like you see people holding hands and being all cute, and you're like, wow, even me, I want that. And it's not only media, it's like even what goes on outside, like in your environment. So like this is very interesting. It's something I've realized. You realize you get let me not generalize it, but sometimes people get validation on how they look or how they are as a person based on how many people approach them, how many people ask them out on dates. You get, and so personally, I've been in a situation where, or actually, let me say, many situations where I'm always with someone who's being approached. I'm never being approached.
Same.
So it's really like, it's sad to say, quite frankly, but God knows, I know, I'm very beautiful, I'm very attractive. God knows. And you know also, right? You know. But then, like, it's really affected how I view myself in a way. So it's like, am I not beautiful enough to be approached? Am I not worthy enough? You get, or at worthy. Anyway. Point is, it's really affected how I view myself as a person. So yeah, I think that's media and basically my external environment makes me feel uneasy about being single.
Could I add also on Tamiron's point? There was something she said about how media makes people even feel like afraid of entering relationships because like you don't want to be hurt. You know, with these things of interchana too. You know, you even like, and then this whole thing about Kanairo, don't trust anyone from Kanairo. You know, so you're a little bit skeptical. Vile machali wa Kanairo wanachezanga chini, you're like question one, you can't really trust anyone, so it's really hard. And you know, with a relationship you need to have trust, and if you see something like even the slightest thing, you're already questioning that person because you can't trust anyone. So I think that's even how media has influenced, even for me personally, relationships, because you're a little bit skeptical about, is anyone trustworthy in today's society? Surely, because yes, everyone has their own secrets and baggage, but at the same time, can someone really be so open with you, and are you even that ready to open up with someone? So yeah.
Can I just mention that I saw a TikTok like yesterday but one about this lady, like she had stitched a video that she had done about a year ago, and the video was like it was like, you know, nice music playing in the background, and the caption was when you and your man wake up from a nap at the same exact time.
I've seen that video.
when you and your man, this was the video that she stitched, when you and your man wake up from a nap at the same time. So it was like they're waking up and they were smiling and they were so happy. Then she stitched it, and then in her stitch she said, "You guys, he cheated. This video did not age well. He cheated." So now imagine, TikTok. Poor. Imagine you one of those people that saw that TikTok originally. When you see the stitch and you're like, "Hey, I'm a cheat." So I think it also builds up your anxiety. Social media could build up your anxiety about relationships.
That's true.
Yeah.
Also, can I just say, if you're out there and you're like one of those people, when you see people in a relationship and out of the bottom of your heart, your first thoughts, not for clout, not for because everybody else around you is saying it, but generally out of the bottom of your heart, your first thought is watachana. Please heal. I beg you, please heal, because that is not healthy. How do you see people happy and your first thought is, I can't wait for them to be in pain again? Like, please heal. You're not okay. I know you think you are, but you're not. So for me, I actually recently saw someone who, I feel like it's a very common story of young Christian girls who spent their, these are not a sad one, spent a large part of their young, like this age we are in, youth, up to like maybe 26, 27, praying for marriage, for a husband, a godly husband who will be head of the home, such things. So like she was one of those ones, and like she reached that age, you know, that age where all your age mates are getting married. Everyone. Like you're being invited to a wedding left, right, center. So she reached that age and she had been praying for her husband for so long, and she was just like, my God, this is what you're trying to do to me? Is it like she was approaching 35 and she still was not married. And it was really bothering her. Like, you know, those ones who approach 35 and they're not married and they're fine. She was not fine. She was not okay. So I remember she said, she was praying about it and she was like, God, I really want a husband. And somebody advised her and told her, in your life, has this idea of a husband taken the place of God? Because it's so easy to fall into that thought process of I need, yani, what do I need? A man. That is what I need. So she realized for all this time, yes, she had been praying for her husband, but she had also been idolizing the idea of her husband. Like she was like, my goodness. Like she was saying it hit her and she felt horrible. Like basically the idea of being married and being in a relationship had taken the place of God in her life. And so, like she was saying, a lot of it for her was influenced by the media. Like all the songs we listen nowadays are either someone is in love or someone cheated. Like that's basically all music, all secular music nowadays. And like all, like you can't watch a movie or like a series where there is no relationship.
Exactly.
There needs to be somebody who's falling in love, somebody like that is what our society has considered good entertainment. And I mean they're right because it sells. It's not like it's not selling, it's selling.
Sure.
So she was saying like she needed to separate, like she needed to actively avoid all romantic media. Like that means no romantic movies, no romantic songs. Like she went out of her way to separate herself from what the media had decided is a good relationship. And then only did she start viewing the idea of a husband from a healthy angle. So I feel like for me, media has done pretty much the same thing. Like I want to be in a relationship, not because I want, but because I want. You get?
I
Because
get you.
nataka kubebwa mkono pia mimi. Nataka to giggle pamoja. Kila mtu ajue huyu ni nani wa nani. I want, even me I want. But like ultimately the route for my want is not a healthy route. Like it's not I want to build a home with this person, or I want to start a family with this person, or even I want to glorify God with this person. Like it's not, those are not the roots for my wanting. The roots for my wanting are I want everybody to know I'm not single anymore. I want to post this man and I want everyone to know uyo ni wa mutu. So I feel like media has done that, and I don't want to be this person, but I feel like for if you're a young girl, especially because marriage and wifehood and motherhood is very exalted in our lives. It's just, think about it. All you're trained from such a young age to want to become a mother, to want to become a wife, that you're very susceptible to these things. So I feel like even me, I might just start fasting romantic media because the way it's going, they're not making me happy, we're not making each other happy. But yeah, obviously you don't have to. It's just like my personal conviction. So the other thing I wanted us to discuss is, do you ever feel like you have a timeline, or you want a timeline with your life? So for those of you who don't know what I mean like one of those people that's like 24 married, 26 first child, 27 second child, 28 third child, I finished. No more children for me. Like, are you one of those people? Are you just those ones for let's go with the vibe? Whenever, wherever, however, or are you just those ones that it doesn't even need to happen? I'm just cool by myself until death.
The kingdom comes.
Oh yeah, until kingdom comes. That sounds better.
The ironic thing about me is that if you ask me this question like 2 years ago, or like early last year, like January to March last year, I would have told you, by 24 I want to be married, by 26, 27 I want to think about kids, then by 30 I'm done having my 1 or 2 kids, depending on whether or not I'll have twins, you know.
It's very likely. It's a likelihood for you.
It's a likelihood for me, so I need to think about that. So I was like, in high school, I was against my whole class. My whole class was like, no, like, us don't get married early. And I was the only one. I fought with my life. I fought on that hill to say getting married young is not a bad thing. It can be cool even. Look at me now. I feel like I got out of high school and I just said, celibacy is the way. It is the truth for me. So now I don't have a timeline, because I feel like now what you are saying, Pauline, I kind of idolized the getting into a relationship, getting married type lifestyle, But like nimetoka kuingia nimeona hapana. So for me I didn't even have to recognize it as an idol. I think it was just subconscious. Then when I was hit with reality, hapo nikasema
No.
So now I don't have a timeline. Now whatever comes. We get a boyfriend next year, next week, 10 years from now, cool.
It's forever.
Whenever for me, all that matters is when at the point, not when, if I get to the point that I get somebody that I might be with forever, yeah. We just need to have a friendship, a good friendship as the base of our relationship.
Yeah.
So that's all I have as like my requirements for anything, because like deep friendships are formed by all those other things, like similar spiritual life, someone who's good, whatever. So as long as we have a good friendship at the bottom of our relationship, I'm fine. Other than that, I could get married at 60. Mshangae. Yeah, that's all I have to say.
Priscilla?
For me, I did have a timeline. There was a point in time I said I want to get married like at 28, 29, because I wanted to give myself this 20s period, like education, work, building myself, utilizing all the opportunities I can before I look into having a family and building a family of my own. Because with family comes sacrifice. So
That's true.
Yeah.
That's so true. Especially as a woman.
Exactly. So now I wanted to give myself time to build myself before I now dedicate time and energy to building a home. You see? As of now, I'm not really working with timelines because I think the challenge in today's society is not even the time, it's finding the right person. Because a lot of people rush themselves like, oh, you're getting to 30, you're not even married. Like, you could rush yourself into marrying a narcissist, into marrying someone who is not for you because of that pressure of marriage, which honestly I wouldn't advise. So I think for me, even though it's 24, even though it's 26, Bora too, it's in God's timing. And Bora too, it's the will of God that and I've gotten the right person that God has destined for me, then I'm Gucci, I'm fine. But with timelines, I'm not really okay. Yes, I would advise that people build themselves, utilize the opportunity you have before starting a family of your own. But at the same time, don't have that pressure of time, age, all that that comes with that whole situation. I think it's more of now getting the right person who is, as Paul said, like if you have the similarity of spiritual, like basically what you want in a guy or what you want in a woman, you see. But for me, I'm a little, I don't know.
Whenever.
Whenever, exactly.
In line with what Priscilla has just said.
Introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Karen, and I sometimes produce this podcast. In line with what Priscilla has said, you talked about the will of God, and like even if the will of God is that you get married at 50, you're fine. But if the will of, and this is a question to all of you, but if the will of God is for you to remain single and to serve Him, would you be willing to submit to that will?
Yes. Straight answer yes. That's for me. That's fine.
Me personally,
That's a good question.
I know eventually I would.
Yeah.
Because God's will above everything.
Exactly.
So eventually you will. But He will need to take me. He will need to carry me into that position. I'm not there. I'm not there personally.
Yeah.
I don't think I could. But if He wills it, definitely I would.
Yeah. Because God has a funny way of bringing someone back to Him. Look at Jonah. He tried to run away. He was swallowed by a fish. Next thing he's in Nineveh. So you can try and look for any loophole, go around in circles, go on the roundabout 5 times. You will still, I don't know how God will do it, but He'll still bring you back. Yeah.
Because here's my thing. If it's God's will, it doesn't matter who I marry. I could marry Jesus for God, for everything I know. Well, not Jesus himself, but like you mean like a guy who, by all standards, is good. Like he's spiritually fed. He's a good man. He's respectful. He's like he's the dream guy.
Yeah.
But if God doesn't will it, it's never going to work.
Exactly.
So spendi kujiumiza, mi najipenda. Sitajiumiza bure.
I know personally, as much as obviously at the end of it all itabidi may accept, I'd struggle.
Same.
Because like being brought up in the way we are brought up as ladies, as girls, from a very young age, you're being trained to be a wife, you're being trained to be a mother. So personally, I've had the desire of having a kid for like a really long time. Then God tells me, nah, you're not getting married. You will not have any kids of your own.
But I feel like God has placed that desire in your heart,
Yeah.
That's the other thing.
Exactly. Like basically I think God puts a desire in your heart for it's like, I don't think God likes blindsiding his people. Like he'll tell you what he wants, and then there's like a desire that will come with what he wants. If it's in the purpose or if it's in the line of God's will in your life, then there's a desire that's going to come with it. Let's say you feel like you don't want to get married and you want to be celibate all your life, all for the purpose of God, to serve him. Then maybe in your line or in your journey, you don't know, maybe God wants you to help street kids, or maybe God wants you, if you feel like you don't want to have kids of your own, then he'll give you the heart of helping other kids out there who don't have parents, maybe because that is the plan he had for you. So I think it comes with the will that you have for yourself that is in line with God, and the desire you have.
I'm not a theologist, so I may be wrong, but I like to believe that God doesn't just out of the blue decide he wants me to be single. Like, if it's something he generally in his will, then I just want to believe he won't let me long to be in a relationship for so long just for him to say, okay, you be single. But then also, you need to look for a relationship for the right reasons. Like, if it starts taking up the place of God in your life, that's a no. That like, it's not going to work. So,
So for me in timeline, it's an interesting story. So when I was younger, I remember my desire was to get married in my 30s because that's what my parents did. And like for me in my mind, that's what everyone does. Like you get married in your 30s. Then I got a bit older, then I realized, my mom randomly told me how her mom used to pressure her to get married because according to her, like getting married in your 30s was late. So then I kind of observed and realized, people don't really get married in their 30s. Most people get married in their late 20s. I was like, okay, you know what? Hey, you guys, actually, my first timeline was 35. Because that was averagely the time in which my parents got married. And that in my mind, that was it. That was the time people get married. Then obviously, like later on I realized, no, people get married in their late 20s. So I was like, okay, late 20s, like 27 April. Although it took, like, before I adjusted to that idea, I really battled with it. But then I was like, okay, fine, 27 then. And then I went to Uganda. So there people get married quite young, like quite young. So I remember there was a period of time where there was so much emphasis on marriage and you getting married early, like getting someone early, it doesn't matter if they don't tick all your boxes. Nobody is perfect. And I was like,
And then to
okay.
see Cristo.
So I remember being like, okay, fine. For like a second, although I was, as well, I was very uneasy because unanipeleka aje mi ideally it was 35 sasa ukanipusha hadi 27 sasa unaniambia 24 so obviously
Mbona tafuta internship?
Tafuta internship kwa diapers bana.
So obviously also I was also a bit uneasy, but then eventually I was like, okay, I'm open to it. But
It's not ideal.
it's not, for me it's not ideal. But if it happens, it happens.
Yeah, true.
So I remember I even have a couple of friends, a couple who are friends to me. They got married recently, and the lady she was literally turning 23 the next day. And the guy is a bit older, he's like 26 or something.
That's young.
Oh yeah, no, but like it's for the guy, it's acceptable for him to be like it seems more acceptable.
I feel like for guys the age is usually higher. I feel like 26 for a lady is considered fine, but then 26 for a guy is still considered young.
You know, in most cases these days, people get married closer to their age range. People watu wanaoa na miaka similar. So like at 26-year-old you marry a 25-year-old. So that's why, like, although it's acceptable, it's more acceptable for guys to get married at it's more like a girl would be considered a bit young to get married at 26. It makes sense because even the girl is that age, so they will both be considered young.
Okay.
So anyway, so before I went to Uganda, I was like, nah, this girl is too young, she can't be getting married now. Oh my god, wow, she doesn't feel young. She's just moving out from her parents' home to her husband. God, she can't do that. But then I felt like me going to Uganda was me learning to have more empathy for their situation. Because then I came back and I remember in a forum where all of us were there, I remember saying, I'm more open to getting married young. But anyway, what was I going with this?
So do you have a timeline? Or do you not have a timeline?
No, I don't have at the moment, just like you guys, I don't have a timeline because I remember telling my mom, hey mom, see, getting married young is good or something. I said something about getting married young. And she was like, imagine there's no pressure. There's no pressure.
True. That's true.
Like, it's funny how the world works. Sometimes when you want something the most is when it doesn't happen. But then when you get relaxed about it, it just happens. And that's literally the same thing that happened to her. I remember she was telling me that when she was about 26, 27, she fervently prayed for her. I use that word, right?
Yeah.
Okay. For her husband. And then nothing came. Or like there was no... Yeah, there was no sign. But then it got to a point she kind of gave up. She was like, God doesn't want me to get married. I'll just adopt a child and go to America. And then, literally then, like when she had just relaxed and she had literally just surrendered it to God, like, do as you wish. If you want, cool. If you don't want, okay. Right. And that's when my dad just walked into her life. So
romantic.
She was telling me just this thing of feeling pressured is really high bambi. It's so much stress on you, and it's so much actually it's so much stress on you. You shouldn't put such strain on yourself. So just wait for things, just let God do his thing. If it happens, it happens. Whenever, however.
Actually, on that point, it's not okay, it's somewhat in correlation to this, but there's something my mom told me. Let go and let God.
Yeah.
A lot of things that come with pressure, you have that fear and eagerness of like, oh my God, will it happen? Will it work? Yeah. With that comes fear. And sometimes fear can be a barrier to the blessings God has in store for you. Because without fear, it's like a blocker. Because it's not like you're fully trusting God. He's going to open up this door for you. So when you let go of that fear and just say, you know what, let it be. It's going to come. Yeah.
Could I make a disclaimer? I'm not saying that I'm against relationships. I could get married. You see, like last year but one, I was in a relationship stream. And now I'm not. Things could change. I could get married at 24. I could be the first one here with the ring on my finger. So,
Everybody prepare.
this is giving me her ring.
She has very immaculate rings over here.
So, all I'm saying is, see ati I'm stirring of relationships is just for now as we stand. Sioni. Lakini pia mimi siwezi ona because last year I didn't see myself in this place. So, I could get married early, late, whatever. I just don't have a timeline, but I'm also not stirring of relationships.
I think for me, I also, much like Pearl, had a timeline. But for me, my timeline wasn't based off of I want a relationship. My timeline was based off of I want to give birth early. Now, before you roll your eyes in your house, let me explain myself. The only reason I wanted to give birth early is just because it's easier when you're younger.
Yeah.
The older you get, the harder it becomes. So I was like, you know what? I want to be done with this thing by 25. You know, like I had all these things. But I think something that I'm learning is that all these things, they are not that important. Like the only important thing right now in my life personally as a young Christian girl is my relationship with God.
Amen.
That's the only thing. Like my job, my career, all of that takes a pause or should not be as
important.
It's not that it's not important, but it's not as important as my relationship with God. So I had a plan. I was going to go to this school. I was going to study this. I was going to get this job. I was going to get this man. And it was all so specific. And I remember I was talking to someone and I was like, I have all these plans for my life. I am level-headed. I know what I want. I know all these things. And then at the end of that, I was like, oh yeah, but all in accordance to God's will. God's will came last. That's the thing that came last. So I remember the person I was talking to laughed. Like this, just the way we've laughed over here. They laughed. They were like, okay, you're saying you're submitting to God's will, but you clearly already have a plan for your life. You clearly don't like God's will to use things like a suggestion. So if it's something you don't want it also. So something that I'm learning is that all of these things, I'm learning how to make them pale in comparison with my relationship with God. So like I'm striving to reach that point in my life where that verse in Matthew that's like why are you worrying about tomorrow? Doesn't your Father in heaven know you know these things? I think so. I think that's quickly becoming one of my most favorite verses. Because it's like, doesn't your Father in heaven know you know all these things? So like, God knows. Where he's seated, he knows. He knows how much I want a job. He knows how much I want a career. He knows how much I want a family. He knows how much I want a husband. Because he's the one who created me at the end of the day. So he knows how much I want all of these things. So I'm just going to stop stressing about them. Like in comparison with my relationship with God, they all pale. They're not as important, especially now. I'm just 18. There's no hurry. If I get married tomorrow, I get married tomorrow. If I get married in 10 years, I get married in 10 years. If I don't get married, I don't get married. And like life will move on. I won't be unfulfilled because I'm not married. But then also something that I'm learning is that this our age, we're like late teens entering our 20s. It's easy to sit down and be like, no, I don't have a timeline. Or no, I'm not like in a hurry. Like things can just go as they please because we are not 29. All our friends are not getting married. Like we've not felt that pressure yet. So I feel like it's important to acknowledge. It's easy for us to sit down and be like, whenever it happens, but like it might it might actually, like, you might find yourself 30, single, you've smarmied everyone's wedding. Like, and that might be a reality for you. So, this is me putting a disclaimer saying, it's easy for us right now to say things can just go whenever, however they please. But the reality is it's not that easy. When you're in that situation, it's not that easy.
I agree with you, 100%. But I've witnessed so many people in my church who are like 26, 27, that range, 20, mid-20s going on 30s. So there's so many people who got married now, and the ones who are not married, brother ni scramble and partition. It's a dating pool now of like who's the most compatible, So there's so much, like I'm seeing it to those young people, with those older young people, I don't know. They're so stressed. Like there's one who I'm particularly close to. He's so namwonanga tu anatafuta tu madem, So like for him I'm just like, just relax, chaka when you takam, But
it's hard to tell someone to just relax.
So I feel like my personal mission statement is when I get there. If I get there, because we are not timeline, if I get there, I don't have to feel the pressure to marry somebody because everybody's getting married. First of all, why am I spending that much money and we could even divorce?
So weddings are so expensive. My God, weddings are so expensive.
Yeah. The one thing I'd say personally is that in line with Pulse, like a lot of these guys who are getting married now, 26, 25, started dating at this point in their lives. Kwanza mimi kila mtu anaenda shule yangu. You probably know what school I'm talking about. You tell me kila mtu anaenda your shule, kila mtu every Tom, Dick and Harry and Jane and Joe anyway. So like for me, at this point in time, I'm like, well, even people in my school will be like, all your friends are like, if I post something with like my girlfriends will be like, all your friends are single. Yeah, that's awkward. Why? So unafaa kutafuta mtu bana. And like for me now, I'm starting to, sometimes I feel like, is it weird to be single? Then I remember sina pesa. So for me at this time, I understand. I don't feel it yet, but I understand the pressure of having to be in a relationship. But I also understand that I'm very content in my singleness. Mimi kama kuna kitu nimeambia Yesu, kama mtu wangu ako shule yangu na shule yangu ni kubwa, labda yako labda mtu kama ako shule yangu amfunge macho, anifunge macho, wacha tumalize undergraduate kwanza. Wacha tupate degree so that we are not in certain scandals in a few years. Yeah, so wacha tumalize shule, but as per now, like me, being single is fun. It's great. Try it. If you're not in it, try it.
So in conclusion, okay, this was what I wanted to be my parting shot. Is it's okay to be single. But it's also okay to be in a relationship. Like don't actually now, because I feel like a lot of times people will be in relationships and then they'll be like, oh my God, everyone is single. Even I want to be single. Like it's okay. Like no one's life is the same. Like maybe you and your friend will be in a relationship at the same time. Maybe. But maybe hers will end and you'll get married. Or yours will end and she'll get married. Like life won't always be the same. You would always be at the same level. So like whatever your situation is, whether you're single, whether you're in a relationship, whether you're not planning to be in a relationship, whether you are deeply longing for a relationship, like it's okay. It's all okay. Like it's never that serious. Another thing I wanted to say, I can't remember, it's escaped me. Oh no. Is if you are looking for a relationship, kindly sit down with yourself. Kindly. This is a kind request. You don't have to. I'm not your mother. I can't tell you what to do. Just kindly know why you're looking for a relationship. Because that why will solve a lot of issues for you. Because if that why is because everybody else wants me to be in a relationship, maybe don't look for a relationship right now. Because all you're doing is setting yourself up for hurt. If that why is, I'm tired of working, I want a husband who will work for me. I actually had someone say that the other day and I really laughed. I laughed for like a proper 15 minutes. I was like, what? But yeah, like if that's your why, maybe don't look for a relationship. But if you know with your heart your why is a genuine one, then you're allowed to long mama, for as long as you want.
But maybe that person who doesn't want to work, that's their genuine.
Maybe that's their genuine. Okay, yeah.
The Bible encourages us to be.
They're girl totos, man.
The baby girl.
Let us be industrious. Yes, that's what I have to say.
No, but then now may I have a problem with that? Like, okay, so what about housewives?
No, but housewives have worked hard all their lives. They're sacrificing themselves to now take care of their family. There are people who are like, they want to drop out and get married to someone for the sole reason of not wanting to work. See, that's not a genuine reason.
And then the people who have that reasoning, their reasoning is housework is easy, or being a housewife is easy. But being a housewife is not easy. Hi, being a housewife, it requires grace. It does. I may have such respect for every single housewife. Oh my God. I couldn't do it. I really don't think I could do it.
Managing a house is a tough job.
Especially if you have children. And then God forbid your husband is also a child. Nope, not for me.
Najitia kitanzi.
I wanted to say something. Just to introduce verses. I can't quote them right now. But when you want a relationship, but like when it comes from a sincere heart, I feel like we should stop quoting, and God created Eve for companionship.
Yeah.
And like companionship is friendship. So it's not, you can get companionship from anyone. Yeah, and then even the verse from the second thing I want to talk about is, I don't know where it is in the Bible. All I know is that Paul wrote it. I know everything, not everything, but I usually know like what Paul has written. So
You don't have that air around
yeah.
This was from the Saint Paul.
So he talked about if you can't control your fleshly desires, then you get married. But for him, like, it's better to be single. So, but that was his opinion, largely, partly his opinion. So I just feel like, if, as Paulina said, if you want to be in a relationship, cool. If you don't, cool. The Bible endorses both. So don't feel like, if you go to church and you hear your pastor really preaching the agenda of, sister, you're gonna get married, I feel like it's not ideal. You do what God has called you to do and pray about it, because maybe you could be destined. Thank you. Maybe you could be destined to be single, and if you don't have that desire in your heart right now because of the culture around you, or maybe you could be destined to be in a relationship, but right now because of the toxic culture around you, you want to be, or whatever you want to be. So I lost my train of thought. Yeah, so that's what I have to say.
Not really. I agree with everything you've said. Also, I think don't focus, as they've all said, I'll just reiterate, don't focus too much on relationships. Also focus on yourself. Yes, you want a boyfriend or a husband who has these qualities that you yearn for, but also those qualities that you yearn for, try and also be that.
Build them in yourself.
Build them in yourself. You want a loyal guy, be loyal.
If
you want a kind man, be kind. If you want an honest man or woman, be honest too. So I think we tend to forget that we also need to be working on ourselves before attracting the partner that you desire. So I guess that's my parting shot.
And one last thing. Actually, this is the last thing. We've really become those mamas. And as I finish, it's because Karen has gone. She's not here to tell me I'm talking long. This is just a kind reminder. It is not your job to fix anybody. It is not your job to change anybody. The only person who changes people is God. Please, Yeshua. If you enter a relationship thinking you're going to fix this man, run. If you're with a young lady and you think, I'm changing her, run. Because that is unhealthy and that is unsafe.
Yes.
And thanks for watching, listening. Sorry. Thanks for listening. find us everywhere, I think.
On
We are
Instagram
everywhere.
at P3T Podcast.
Everywhere on Instagram, we're at P3T Podcast. You can email us if you're one of those people at somebody say the email. I don't know.
P3T Podcast
Podcast
ke@gmail.com.
Yeah. You can feel free to DM us, even if it's just to give us feedback. We're open to hear.
Give us a comment on Instagram.
Yeah. The end. I don't know what else to say.
Bye.
Bye.
The end.